Okay. Hello, my name is Lucia and I'm a second year student. I would like to ask you a few questions. In England, do you live in a big town or in a small village?
Okay, do I live in a big town or a small village? Okay, I would describe it as a big town. Yeah, it's got a population of about 10,000 people. It's in the countryside, so it's quite difficult sometimes to access all the facilities. However, there is a larger town nearby, so it's not too much of a problem. Yes, question.
Hello, my name is Sergio.
Hi, Sergio.
I'm a second year student. Where are you from?
Where am I from? Good, okay. I am from a small town in the south of England, or a big town in the south of England, rather. It's called Sherborne. It's in the county called Dorset, and that is nearest to a larger town called Yeovil. Okay. So in the south of England.
Hello, my name is Naira and I'm a second year student. I would like to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
What place do you like most in Madrid?
What place do I like most? So, a couple of weekends ago I went to the zoo in Casa de Campo, and that was fantastic. Yeah, really enjoyed that. So I'd say Casa de Campo is this big park because for me it's very strange to have in a huge city just a vast area dedicated to parks, and there's a lake, and there's the attraction park, the theme park, and the zoo. So for me that's really, really strange because in London there's Hyde Park and St James's Park, but they're not as large, and certainly not as, they don't have as many facilities. So for me, Casa de Campo, and then generally around Madrid, I'd say the parks are my favourite places, yeah. Okay.
Hello, my name is Raul and I am the second year student.
Hello.
What is the reason that you have come here to teach us English?
Right, well, as you may know, I'm studying English, I'm studying French and Spanish at university. Okay? So, as part of my course, as part of my studies, I have to spend 1 year abroad. So, I've already done 1 month in France, and I'm spending 8 months here in Madrid teaching you guys English, as you know. And the objective of that basically is for me to improve my Spanish as far as the university is concerned. Obviously, as far as the school is concerned, the institute here, I'm here to teach you English, but the sort of ulterior motive, the subsidiary motive, is to improve my level of Spanish, and also to absorb some Spanish culture, some historical knowledge as well, because Madrid is obviously a hub of knowledge, of history and culture for Spain, so that's why, yeah.
Okay. Have you eaten paella yet?
Have I eaten paella? I really like paella. I really, really like it. It's delicious because I love seafood, but then there's obviously the kind of you can put all sorts of other interesting things in it as well. I have eaten paella in the UK. So in the town where I go to university, or the city I suppose you could call it, Durham is where I go. There was a food market, like an international food market, and some people came and served people did food from all over the world, and had some paella, and it was delicious. But I haven't yet eaten paella in Spain, which is something I really like to do, to try the authentic paella, as it were.
How long will you stay here in Madrid?
How long am I staying here? So I will be here until the end of May, which is from now sort of 6.5 months or so. Yeah? So the whole stay will be about 8 months in total, if you include what I've already done. But until the end of May, yeah, which is, I think, until sort of the end of the school year, almost. Okay.
What music do you like most?
Difficult question. I like lots of kinds of music, really. I'm not that fussy. I like jazz music very much. Kind of swing, jazz, relaxed music. Like 1920s jazz, I'd say, is probably my favourite kind. But also, you know, I like modern music as well. I like, it's not modern, but I like the Beatles a great deal. They're great. So, yeah, rock and indie and jazz. There's a place for classical music as well, but I wouldn't say it's my favourite.
What are you studying in university?
What am I studying in university? Okay, so I'm studying Spanish and French. Those are the subjects. But within that, I'm studying, there are language modules, so that's grammar, what we cover in English lessons, only in Spanish and French, as well as history and culture. So that includes studying literature, so books, poetry, plays, as well as more modern culture, modern forms of art, so film as well. And in terms of history, there are modules that cover certain historical periods of both cultures. For example, you can take a module in the French Revolution or the Spanish Civil War, and those form parts of my studies generally, yeah.
Do you have friends in Spain?
I do have friends in Spain, yeah. Apart from the lovely Sean, who I'm sure you know, he is, as you know, Irish, but I have some Spanish friends as well. My mum, when she was studying at university to become a teacher, met a Spanish woman called Wilma, I think, and they remained friends, and still are friends, and I am friends now with her son, who lives in Cadiz. So he's like my only authentic Spanish friend, I would say, apart from lovely people that I meet. So yeah, I don't have that many friends in Spain this summer.
In your previous Spanish school, brought you to here?
Right, okay, good question. So, is Spanish difficult for me to learn? I would say there are elements of Spanish that are really quite difficult. Because, for example, you use the subjunctive an awful lot more than the French that I'm more comfortable with. So I would say I'm more comfortable in French than in Spanish. And so I often try and find myself trying to impose French grammatical rules onto the Spanish language, and that can be confusing for me. I don't know if, had I come to Spanish with no knowledge of any other language other than my native English, whether that would have been easier for me. On the other hand, it is sometimes nice to be able to look at a Spanish word, think of the equivalent in English or in French, and then try and decipher the meaning. Because I find Spanish to be quite a phonetic language, so often you just pronounce it how it's written, whereas in French there are lots of complicated orthographic rules. So I would say there are advantages and disadvantages for me as a learner of French, and that can make it more difficult to learn Spanish, yeah. But I very much enjoy learning Spanish.
Can you dance?
Can I dance? So there's a difference between dancing and dancing well. I would say I can do the former. I can dance if you ask me to. I'm not very good at it. I don't have very good coordination really. Like, I can sort of dance to music, and like, I guess if you gave me a choreography, then yeah, maybe you could follow that. But like improvised dance is my mind, I guess. Yeah.
Do you like Madrid?
I like Madrid very much. Yeah, very much. I've already mentioned the parks, which I like a great deal.
And the Spanish people?
And the Spanish people, of course, yeah, love them, yeah.
How about the Spanish food?
Spanish food as well, yeah. Yes, I'd like to try, but also I have this bocadillo de calamari, yeah, which is great too. I mean, I love calamari, squid, I love bread. You put them together. It's a winning combination, yeah.
What team do you play rugby?
What team do I play rugby for? Okay, so when I'm home, when I'm living in my the big town of Sherborne, as we've discussed, I play for the town club team. Okay, so there's a club that is for the whole town. I play for them when I'm home. There's another club at university. Okay, and the way my university works is you have the whole thing is the University of Durham, and it's divided up into colleges, right? Okay, So each college has its own rugby team, and they play against each other. There's a league for the colleges. There is also a university team on a sort of higher level, and that's the really serious ones and the best guys. I'm not on that team, as you probably would assume. I play for my college team in Collingwood, in Durham.
What do you think about our school?
I very much like the school. It's very large, much larger than the secondary school I went to. So I think you have ESO and Bachillerato, but also Formación Profesional. So there are sort of adults here as well learning. So it's a really big place. But that, I think, also means that you have lots of opportunities, right? Which is a great thing. I also am surprised to know that you have a students' union, which organises events, rallies, strikes, that I find very impressive. I can't think of any equivalent at secondary level in the UK, so yeah, I find that very, very both surprising and interesting. Yeah, so I like it very much.
And what is your favorite song?
My favourite song? So, at the moment, my favourite song would be the Beatles' Come Together, because it's just ridiculous. It's like the words don't make any sense, but I really enjoy that. So it's got rhythm, it's got kind of broken beats, and yeah, a lot of attitude. It's kind of, I don't know if you've heard of Lewis Carroll, the author, yeah, the 19th century, who wrote Alice in Wonderland, or Alice Through the Looking Glass, I think. He wrote a poem called The Jabberwock, and it's kind of nonsensical, but clearly also in English. It doesn't mean anything, but it obeys English grammatical rules. And that's my favourite poem. And the Beatles Come Together, sort of the first couple of verses, well, all of it, are like that, and I really like that.
What is the difference between British high school and Spanish high school?
Okay, so the most immediate difference would be uniform. So you guys are just wearing whatever you want. But in the UK, in Britain, most schools, the vast majority of schools, have uniform. Some schools, maybe private schools, don't, but even then, very rare to find schools without uniform. So that's the first difference. I would say, however, that the teaching style is probably very similar. Often we use textbooks and follow a curriculum stipulated by the government, so that's another similarity. I might say, particularly in recent years, class sizes are smaller, maybe. I've noticed that you guys are sometimes in classes of 30 or maybe even more, 32, 33, about there. So I'd say class size is probably smaller in the UK, but again, that will vary depending on location. Okay.
Have you said in a boat of the European Park?
Do I?
Say in a boat of the European Park.
Oh, how I say it? Okay. Of course, yeah. Do you know I haven't yet? I was intending to do that this weekend, but some other stuff going on. But I very much like to do that, yeah, because in Durham there's a river, and people do rowing and also we call it punting. If you have a long stick and you push it on the bed of the river, yeah. So I'd love to do that, yeah, but not yet, unfortunately.
What is your hobby?
My hobby? So I very much like films, cinema. If you can call that a hobby, I suppose you can. Yeah, I take a particular interest in cinema. I like French cinema particularly. Just getting into Spanish cinema as well. The other day I watched, there's this great short film called Las 7:35, which came out in 2003. And it's got like a cool song in it, and it's about this guy who goes into a restaurant, or this woman goes into a restaurant, and everybody's silent, and then it turns out this maniac man has sort of held everybody to ransom in order to ask her out or something. So yeah, it's a fantastic short film, and so yeah, I'm just getting into Spanish cinema, and that's quite fun.
Do you like Caravanserai Bajo?
Do I like Caravanserai Bajo?
Like,
Oh, do I live near? Oh right. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I live about 20 minutes walk from here. So I guess, yeah, I quite like the area. It's quite vibrant, quite lively. So, yeah.
Have you got any brother or sister?
I have one brother. His name is James. He's 22, and he's in his final year at Oxford at the moment. So, yeah, one brother.
Can you speak Spanish?
I hope so. Obviously, I'm learning, but I'd say at the moment I'm sort of comfortable in conversation with people. I can kind of get by in most situations. I hope by the end of my time here that I'll be, really good, and then I'll just, instinctively say, yeah, I can speak Spanish. At the moment, I say I can speak French, but my Spanish is less strong.
What do you want to be in the future?
That's a really hard question. I have thought about doing translation.
Yes.
Yeah, from Spanish and French into English for perhaps literary purposes, so translating novels and things like that, or journals. Also interpreting as well, as in kind of simultaneous translation, something that really interests me, because there are all sorts of interesting brain functions going on when you're hearing one language and speaking at the same time in another. The mind boggles at how that's even possible. So I'd like to look into that as well. There's a module that does that, so that's a possibility. But also I've considered a career in teaching, particularly in the last few months, as I've been learning what that's like and getting experience of that. So yeah, if not translation or interpreting, perhaps teaching, but I'm still not sure.
What do you do at the weekend?
At the weekends, what I should be doing is preparing for my dissertation, because I have a big project to work on for my final year at the university. But that's not really what I do. I tend to go out and try and see the city, go to the museums, go to the art galleries, see the kind of cultural places. I went to the Círculo de Bellas Artes in which was cool. Saw that. So, and there was does anybody hear about modern art?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so there was a modern art exhibition there. And my feelings about modern art are basically that it's essentially weird, and if you can relate to it, that's helpful. But this was too weird for me. So, but it was interesting nonetheless. So yeah, try and get out and see Madrid basically, and learn. Do I like the zoo? Love the zoo, yeah. The zoo was great, really fantastic, yeah. Pandas, who knew how cute pandas were, especially the little baby one, amazing. The dolphin show as well, that was fantastic. Yeah, so I love the zoo. Bought a cuddly toy koala, because I wanted one, and I can. It's amazing, they sell this kind of thing. So yeah, zoo's great.
Can you cook Spanish omelette?
So, I can. Amazing, yeah. The Spanish omelette is a few eggs, yeah, and then potatoes, and sometimes onions, but generally, okay. Yeah, if you want, yeah. So, yeah, I can. Very tasty, huh?